My inbox this week has been full of people who are talking about getting CeMAP qualified next year because as we come into December, let's be honest, everybody just puts everything down for Christmas. So I thought I would do a video on how to goal set to make sure that you get through CeMAP in 2026 because for a lot of people, this isn't just a 12-month plan. Actually, you might have been trying to get CeMAP qualified for years. And if that's you, you are not alone. So I wanted to start by talking about why goal setting matters. And it all comes down to finding time and realizing why you're doing it. Because it's really easy to say that next year you want to lose 5 stone, you want to get a £50,000 job increase, and you want to move house. But actually, you're not going to get there unless you set small, achievable goals that build towards the big end goal. So the first thing to think about is your why goal. Why do you want to get CMAP qualified? Now, for some people, that's because they want more time freedom. Some people just want more money. Some people want to shift careers completely. Maybe you want to spend more time with your kids, or you want the opportunity to be able to work from anywhere. What is your why? Because ultimately, when the textbook absolutely sucks and you just don't want to do it anymore, the why is going to be your driver that makes you come back to it time and time again. So I want you to write that down. Literally get a piece of paper, post-it note, whatever it is, and write down your why because you are going to need it. So once you've set your why goal, the next thing to do is to set a time goal because you need to be realistic with your timing. And the other thing is, by setting a time goal, you have something to work backwards on. So I literally want you to open up your calendar in your phone or get your physical calendar for next year if you have one and write a date for when you want to sit the exam. That's important because it's going to help you make a study plan to work backwards from. So if you look at your CeMAP textbooks and you're going to give yourself 90 days to get through that CeMAP textbook, dependent on which one you're working from, if we use CeMAP 2 and 3 as an example, you are going to realize that you need to get through a chapter every 3 days if you want to just get through the material in 3 months. Now, actually, that's quite a lot. That's why realistically, it takes most people around 6 months to do CeMAP 1 and another 6 months to do CeMAP 3 because that is quite fast paced. If you are just reading and making notes on a chapter every 3 days, you are then going to need to recap it and also fit some mock exam questions in there somewhere because that's the best way to test that you are ready. So actually, 3 months is quite a tight time frame to just use the textbook. Of course, you absolutely can level up your studies by using something like an e-learning platform, in which case 3 months is actually pretty comfortable. If you're going to put about 4 hours a week in there, that should get you over the line in plenty of time. But I appreciate not everybody that watches these videos will have access or the funds for something like an e-learning platform or a fast track course. So step 1 is to write down your why. Step 2 is to write down the date of when you want to sit CeMAP 1. Start with CeMAP 1 because if you start thinking about CeMAP 2 and 3, it's very easy to then go ahead and get overwhelmed, which we want to avoid. So you've got your why, you've got your when. Then we move on to how do you track that progress? If you're using a textbook, the simple answer is how far are you getting through that textbook? And are you doing the little exam bits that they have at the end of the chapter? I'll be honest, those at the end of the chapter, I think they call them knowledge checkers. They're not a great reflection of what your actual exam will look like. But the problem that you have with that is if you get some LIBF mock papers, they don't correlate with the chapters in the textbook. So you'd have to be all the way through Unit 1 before you start doing the mock papers. So it's a little bit of a catch-22. Try the knowledge checkers out of the textbook first. They are pretty difficult, but they should be an indication of whether or not you are retaining the information. The best way to actually check is to have your flashcards. And I know I bang on about flashcards all the time, but it's because you can get other people to test you on them. So if they just read out the header of the flashcard, you can give them the information that tells you that the knowledge is there. And that's great. You can also get things like study buddies, maybe with somebody that you work with. If you don't already work in the industry, join my free WhatsApp community. There are always people asking for study buddies in there. I'll make sure I'll link it in the description, but get on there because that helps people stay motivated. It also helps if you've got a question you're not sure on, you can always drop it in there. It's not all paid students that are in there. So a lot of people will also be studying with the textbook, and that's quite a nice thing to do. And then make sure that you are realistic. And what I mean by that is most people who are studying for CeMAP have other things going on as well. So sometimes you are going to fall off the bandwagon. And that's okay as long as you don't beat yourself up about it too much and you remember to actually get back aboard the study bus. So you will drop off at some point. Just like going to the gym, it's all well and good to say you're definitely going to go for 3 days a week, but sometimes you get sick. You might hear me today. Sometimes your kids get sick. Sometimes work is just too busy. Sometimes your car gets frozen and won't start in the morning. Things happen. That's okay. Let's allow a little bit of time and let's be kind to ourselves with that. because that is going to be the best way to pass. The biggest mistake that you can make is to say, I'm just going to get CeMAP qualified next year, because trust me, the next 12 months will come and go really fast. And if you don't have a solid plan, you will be sat here this time next year going, I said I was going to do CeMAP, and now I'm back watching Charlotte's videos and I can't believe I've still not done it. Of course, don't forget there's loads of free support options. So if you do want to skip through a few of the chapters in the textbook, if you sign up to the free version of my e-learning platform, it will help you with the first, I think it's 5 chapters for free. And at least then you can figure out the kind of things that you need to be looking out for if you are going to compare it to the textbook. There's the WhatsApp community, as I mentioned. And if you are just looking to level up and get it done as quickly as possible, the average student that gets my e-learning platform passes in anywhere between 4 and 12 weeks of getting their access. It depends on how much you can put in. I mentioned around 4 hours a week should get you through it in about 6 weeks. That's pretty average, but there is always a faster way to do it. You can also look at joining a 6-week support group course, which is run with me. That's my 6 weeks to CeMAP courses. They are almost fully booked, I think, for the start of next year, as in Q1 as of recording this video, but there might still be a few spaces left. Basically, I will drag you kicking and screaming through your CeMAP 1 exam within 6 weeks of you joining the course. That is my job. That is what you pay me for. So that is another option for you. There's loads of accountability in there because I will be speaking to you directly quite a lot, but those are your options. Hopefully that's helped you figure out actually what you want out of the start of next year. So please let me know if you made a schedule. Please let me know if you're going to get your exam booked, or at least you've put it in your diary, and let me know how you plan on studying. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. As always, please make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I'll catch you for the next one.